Picture this. I'm at my lemonade stand, just trying to raise money for my dog's cancer surgery, when a middle-aged lady whose face is contorted like a Plants v. Zombies squash nut starts screaming that my stand is illegal and she'll have me arrested. This woman who ran her own skincare stand at the opposite end of the street was mad I was stealing her customers and threatened that if my stand wasn't gone by 2 p.m., she'd get unreasonable, and my 8-year-old brain thought I was actually going to jail. Picture this. I'm at my lemonade stand, just trying to raise money for my dog's cancer surgery. I'm currently bawling my eyes out, and my 8-year-old brain thinks I'm going to jail, all because some middle-aged lady whose face is contorted like a Plants v. Zombies squash nut is screaming at me. Your stand is illegal! I will have you arrested and put in jail! She ran her own skincare stand at the opposite end of the street and was mad I was stealing her customers. I'm going for lunch until 2. Your stupid stand better be gone by the time I'm back, or I'll get unreasonable. You don't want to see me get unreasonable. She stormed off saying, see you at 2. I didn't want to be arrested, so I started packing up, but my parents saw me. My dad rushed out, and when I explained, he got this look. By the time she's back, son, your stand will be selling lemonade so fast Coca-Cola won't be able to keep up. But she'll call the police. She can call the Pope. I don't care. A smile came across my face. You know what? He added. I'll even have something special for her when she comes back. He called my mom out, whispered something in her ear, then got in his minivan and drove off. Mom's thumbs went nuclear on her phone, and before I knew it, everyone I could think of was suddenly pulling up near our driveway. The elderly lady from 2 doors down ran over. I'll take 3 cups. Actually, make it 5. She shoved a 20 at me. Keep the change, sweetheart, for Max. My hands were shaking as I counted. $20 from one person? Then my dad's best friend showed up with most of his kids' soccer team, still in their attire. Post-match lemonade! The kids swarmed my stand. That's Deborah who sells that overpriced crap, one mom whispered. She screamed at you? I nodded. That absolute witch. Can't wait till she sees this. I kept pouring lemonade, my money jar filling up so fast I couldn't keep track. $100 on Mom. I have $100. Where did Dad go? I asked. Remember, his car was gone. He'll be back soon, sweetie. He's gone to get something real special. Mom winked, running inside. Every 5 minutes, new cars pulled up. Your mom texted our group chat. Can't believe Deborah did that. $150. Mom, $150. I was bouncing now. Maybe Max really would get his surgery. The Clarks arrived with their twins. That Deborah tried to sell me a $50 miracle cream. That was literally Cetaphil, Mrs. Clark said, buying 6 cups. Been waiting for karma to get her. It's already 1 o'clock, someone said. 1 hour until she's back. Let's make her explode with rage. I was counting money when a familiar van pulled up. My heart jumped. The door opened and my cousin Axel hopped out with my dad. Guess what, buddy? Dad grinned, pulling out another lemonade stand from the van. Axel's setting up shop right next to you. All money still goes to Max. 2 stands? I screamed. Axel high-fived me as we set up his stand. When Deborah sees this, Axel started giggling. She was mad about 1 stand. Can't imagine what's gonna happen with 2. Dad laughed, then got back in his van for one more surprise for when Deborah comes back. He drove off. People were buying from both stands, sometimes getting cups from each. $200, Axel. We have $200. More neighbors kept arriving, buying lemonade, chatting with Mom, then leaving as others took their place. The line never died. It was like the whole neighborhood was taking shifts. 30 minutes until she's back, someone mentioned. $250, I shouted. $300, Axel added from his stand. Max is gonna get his surgery, I whispered, tears in my eyes, but happy ones this time. It's almost 2, Mom said quietly. And then we saw her. Deborah's white SUV turning the corner. The entire street went dead silent at once, almost like this was some movie. Deborah drove by, not noticing our stands, but her face was still twisted, almost like being angry was her default setting. She parked her car, got out, and turned to face us. She went from angry to furious, started storming over and pushing through the crowd. I told you to shut this! She stopped mid-scream when she saw it. Not just 1, but 2 stands. 2 lines of people buying lemonade. 2 kids stealing her customers. What the hell is this? She roared. Hi, Deborah! Axel waved cheerfully. Want some lemonade? Her face was purple. This is illegal! You're all breaking the law! That's when Dad's van pulled up. He got out, walked to the back door, and opened it. Out came Max, my golden retriever, cone around his neck, bandages visible on his belly, tail still wagging. We were set to get him after evaluation today. Guess Dad decided now was the perfect time. Max limped straight to Deborah and tried to lick her hand. The entire crowd went dead silent. Deborah, Dad said calmly, meet Max, the dog whose cancer surgery you tried to prevent. I couldn't help myself. He could have died if you shut down this stand. Deborah was staring at the dog, paler than a bag of milk and sweat, starting to visibly stream down her forehead. The crowd was staring at her. What kind of person? Someone whispered. She really tried to stop a dog's surgery? Monster. I didn't. It's still illegal, Deborah stammered, backing away. Actually, Dad smiled. Kids under 14 don't need permits for lemonade stands. But your skincare stand? That needs a business license. Wonder if you have one? Deborah literally ran to her car. Peeled out so fast she left tire marks. Everyone high-fived each other and petted Max, but that wasn't the end. That night, our Ring doorbell caught everything. Deborah going door to door, shoving notes under doors. Your kids are criminals. I'm calling the health department. I know you all conspired against me. That's when we realized this was just the start of the Deborah saga. The next morning came way too early. I woke up at 6:30 because Max was whining and pawing at my bedroom door. His cone kept bumping against the wood. When I looked out my window, something weird caught my eye. White papers were taped to every car windshield on our street, flapping in the morning breeze. I ran outside in my dinosaur pajamas and grabbed one off our minivan. The paper had huge red letters that said, "Illegal business. Stop now," with a bunch of legal-sounding words underneath that I couldn't really understand. I brought it inside to Dad, who was standing in the kitchen making his morning coffee. He read it and started laughing so hard he almost spilled coffee on his work shirt. Look at this, he said, showing Mom. Deborah must have been out there all night doing this. Mom pulled out her phone and opened our doorbell app. Sure enough, there was Deborah at 3 3:17 a.m., creeping around our driveway with a roll of tape and a stack of papers. She kept looking over her shoulder like she was some kind of spy. By 7:30, neighbors started showing up at our door. Karen Whitmore came first, holding her own paper and shaking her head. "This is absolutely crazy," she said, stepping into our kitchen. "My husband works with lawyers. This is harassment, plain and simple." More neighbors kept arriving until our kitchen was full of angry people holding Deborah's papers. Everyone was talking at once about what we should do. When I got home from school at 3:30, our garage looked like some kind of headquarters. Dad had taken the day off work and spent it organizing. Folding chairs were set up in rows, and at least 20 neighbors were sitting there listening to him talk. "We need to work together on this," Dad was saying when I walked in with my backpack. "She attacked our kids. Let's show Deborah what happens when she messes with our neighborhood." Jordan Hayes from the HOA board stood up next. "You all need to know something about Deborah," he said. "She complains about everything. Kids riding bikes past her house, people walking dogs too early. She even reported the Johnson family for having Christmas lights that were too bright in January." Everyone started sharing their own Deborah stories. The elderly lady said Deborah yelled at her for her wind chimes being too loud. Another neighbor said Deborah measured his grass with a ruler and reported him when it was an inch too tall. I had no idea she'd been mean to everyone, not just me. Dad waited for everyone to finish, then explained his idea. "This Saturday, every family sets up their own lemonade stand. The whole street becomes one big lemonade festival." He pointed at me. "All the money still goes to Max's surgery." People started getting excited and volunteering. Someone offered to bring cookies. Another person said they'd make signs. The soccer coach said his whole team would help. By 5 o'clock, Axel had come over, and we were in Mom's office making flyers on her computer. We picked Max's cutest picture, the one where he's wearing his Superman cape from last Halloween. Across the top, we wrote, "Help Max get better. Lemonade Festival Saturday." We used up all our printer paper making 50 copies. At 5:30, Axel and I went out to put flyers in everyone's mailboxes. We'd only done about 10 houses when Deborah came running across the street, her face already turning that purple color. "Stop right now!" she screamed, waving her arms like she was trying to land a plane. I kept walking to the next mailbox. "We're having a festival. You can come if you want to help Max." Her face went from purple to almost black. I didn't know faces could turn that color. She pulled out her phone with shaking hands. "I'm calling the health department now," she yelled loud enough for the whole street to hear. "This is an emergency." She told whoever answered that children were running an illegal food operation and people could die from contamination. Axel and I just kept putting flyers in mailboxes while she screamed into her phone about permits and licenses and public safety. At 6:45, a white van with a government seal pulled up. Why does Deborah care so much about an 8-year-old's lemonade stand when she's running her own business without checking if she needs permits? The timing is curious. She storms off for lunch right when the kid's most upset, almost like she enjoys seeing him cry about his sick dog. A tired-looking man in a polo shirt got out with a clipboard. "Where's the emergency?" he asked, sounding like he'd rather be anywhere else. Deborah pointed at our lemonade stand still set up in the driveway. "That! Right there! No permit! No health inspection! It's illegal!" The inspector looked at our little wooden stand with its hand-painted sign, then at Deborah, then back at the stand. His face changed from tired to annoyed. "Lady, you called emergency services for a kid's lemonade stand?" He walked over to the stand where I'd run back to meet him. "How much for a cup?" "50 cents, but you don't have to." He handed me a $5 bill. "Keep the change. Good luck with your dog, kid." He drank the whole cup in one gulp, got back in his van, and drove away. Deborah stood there with her mouth hanging open for about 10 seconds. Then she screamed, not words, just a long, high sound like a broken fire alarm, and ran back to her house. She slammed her door so hard that our neighbor's dog started barking. Mom's phone buzzed immediately. She read the text and laughed. Karen says she felt that door slam from her kitchen. Wednesday afternoon, Mom showed me something on her phone while I did homework. It was our neighborhood Facebook page, and Deborah had written this huge post about illegal businesses destroying our community and child labor violations. She typed it in all capital letters, which Mom said meant she was yelling online. The comments under her post were hilarious. People were posting laughing emojis and pictures of their kids at lemonade stands. Everyone was signing up to help with Saturday's festival. Someone even posted a picture of Max with hearts around it. Thursday after school got really interesting. I was playing with Max in the front yard, careful not to bump his cone, when a big van with a satellite dish on top parked in front of our house. Lily Thompson from Channel 7 News got out with a camera person. She had perfect hair that didn't move even in the wind. "Hi there! We heard about your neighborhood coming together to help your sick dog. Can we talk to you about it?" I showed her Max and told her everything. How Deborah screamed at me. How Dad got everyone to help. How we'd raised $300 already. Max even did his trick where he shakes hands, though he moved pretty slow because of his surgery. Deborah must have been watching from her window because she came running over, waving her arms again. "Don't film this! They're breaking the law! This is private property!" The camera person just kept filming while Deborah tried to cover the lens with her hand. She was jumping up and down trying to reach it, but the camera person was really tall. Lily asked in her calm news voice, "Ma'am, why don't you want this boy to help his sick dog?" Deborah realized she was being recorded and made a grab for the camera. The camera person just stepped back smoothly, still filming everything. Deborah's face went through about 5 different colors before she ran back to her house. That night at 6 o'clock, our whole family sat in the living room to watch the news. There I was on TV, looking smaller than I felt, talking about Max. They showed Max looking sad with his cone and his surgery scar. The story ended with Deborah trying to grab the camera, which made her look completely crazy. My phone, Mom's old one she gave me, started buzzing like crazy. Kids from school were texting, "You're on TV," and "Max is famous." Even kids who never talked to me were suddenly messaging. Friday morning before school, cars were already stopping shopping at our stand. Mom helped me serve customers while I ate my cereal at the stand. $60 before school, I told Max, who was lying on his bed nearby. His tail wagged slowly but steadily. When I got home Friday afternoon, there was an official-looking paper taped to our stand. My stomach felt sick for a second, but Dad read it and smiled bigger than I'd seen in days. It's our permit. I applied Wednesday. Now everything is completely legal. He waved the paper like a flag. Right at 4 o'clock, like she had a timer, Deborah marched over with her own stack of papers. The HOA rules clearly state no businesses in residential areas. Dad showed her our permit, pointing at the part that said, charitable event, exempt from standard regulations. Deborah actually ripped up her papers right there, throwing the pieces in the air like confetti. They floated down while she stomped back to her house. By Friday evening, the whole street was getting ready. I could see tables being set up in driveways, signs being painted, and strings of lights being hung between trees. Even Mr. Peterson from the corner house, who never talked to anyone and yelled at kids to stay off his lawn, was setting up a card table. This is huge, Axel said, bouncing on his toes. It's like the whole street is having one giant garage sale, but for lemonade. Saturday morning, I woke up at 6 o'clock without my alarm. Outside, neighbors were already hanging balloons and streamers from mailboxes and trees. Our street looked like the 4th of July, and someone's birthday party had crashed into each other. By 9 a.m., when the festival officially started, cars were already having trouble finding parking spots. Max was lying on his special bed where everyone could see him and pet him gently. He was tired, but his tail never stopped moving. Axel was running between stands at 10 o'clock, trying to count money. We've made $800 already, he shouted, nearly tripping over his own feet. Every single stand had a line of customers. Some people were buying cups from every stand just to support everyone. At 10:30, 2 police officers arrived in their patrol car. My heart jumped until I saw them smiling. Deborah had called them about illegal parking. The officers looked around at all the families and kids, bought lemonade from 3 different stands, and spent 5 minutes petting Max and asking about his surgery. One officer handed me a $20 bill. For Max, he said. Then, they told Deborah everything looked fine and drove away. Lily Thompson came back at 11 to do a live news report. This amazing neighborhood has raised over $2,000 for one brave dog, she announced to the camera. After it aired, even more cars started showing up. Some people said they drove from across town after seeing the news. At noon, Deborah did something nobody expected. She set up her own stand in her driveway with a huge banner. Professional skincare, better than lemonade, 50% off today only. She sat there in a lawn chair with her arms crossed while hundreds of people walked right past her to buy lemonade. Not one person stopped at her stand. By 1 o'clock, some high school kids who'd come to help started chanting, "Lemonade, lemonade, Max needs aid." Everyone joined in, even the adults. The whole street was chanting together. Deborah stood up at her empty stand, her face doing that purple thing again. At 2 o'clock, we all gathered in our garage to count the money. Mom sorted bills while Dad used his calculator. $3,500, he announced. The surgery costs $5,000, Mom said quietly. But honey, this is amazing. We'll figure out the rest. Deborah spent 3 hours walking around with a clipboard demanding to see everyone's permits. When Jordan Hayes showed her his, she actually tore it up right in front of him. He reached into his pocket and pulled out 5 more copies. "I made extras," he said with a huge grin. "Want to tear these up too?" At 3:30, a woman in a business suit got out of a really nice car. She walked straight to Deborah's stand and started taking pictures of her products with a professional camera. "These are from that pyramid scheme company that got sued last year," the woman said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "They just repackage drugstore lotion and charge 50 times more." Deborah grabbed all her products, knocking over her table, and ran inside her house. The woman walked over to our stand and bought 3 cups of lemonade. "I'm from the State Consumer Protection Office," she told Mom quietly. "We've been looking for her. Thanks for the show." As we were cleaning up at 4 o'clock, a woman in scrubs walked over. "I'm Ava Brooks. I'm a veterinarian from 3 streets over. I saw the news story." She knelt down to pet Max gently. "I can do his surgery for $3,000, and you can pay the rest over 6 months with no interest." Mom started crying and hugged Ava so tight I thought she might never let go. "We have enough," I shouted. "Max, we have enough." Max must have understood because he barked for the first time since his evaluation. It wasn't a loud bark, but it was his happy bark. Monday at lunch, I was like a celebrity. Everyone wanted to hear about the festival. Kids I didn't even know were asking about Max and saying they saw me on TV. My teacher pulled me aside after lunch. "I'm proud of you, Nathan. If you do another fundraiser, let me know. I'd love to help. Max is lucky to have you." When I got home Monday afternoon, Mom was holding a thick envelope. "It's certified mail from Deborah," she said. "She's suing us for emotional distress and damage to her business reputation." Dad read it and started laughing so hard he had to sit down. Karen's husband is a lawyer. He already said he'd handle anything like this for free. She has no case at all. Wednesday brought another letter, this one from the HOA. Deborah had filed a formal complaint about commercial activity in a residential zone. There was an emergency meeting scheduled for Thursday night. Thursday evening, the HOA meeting room at the community center was completely packed. I'd never seen so many neighbors in one place except at the festival. Deborah stood at the front with a folder that looked about 3 inches thick. She had printed everything. Photos of every single lemonade stand from Saturday, copies of permits, screenshots from Facebook, even a map of our street with red X's marking each stand location. Deborah's folder of evidence against a charity lemonade stand is thicker than most people's tax returns. She literally made a crime scene map with red X's marking where children sold drinks for a sick dog. Deborah talked for 40 minutes straight about property values and neighborhood rules and the importance of regulations. When she showed a picture of Max on her PowerPoint presentation, someone in the back yelled, "You're seriously attacking a sick dog?" People started booing. Actually booing. Like at a baseball game when the umpire makes a bad call. Dad stood up when she finally finished. "We raised money for my son's dog, that's all. If helping a sick animal is against the rules, maybe we need better rules." The room exploded with clapping and cheering. Jordan Hayes called for an immediate vote to dismiss Deborah's complaint. The vote was 47-1. The only person who voted to support the complaint was Deborah herself. "This is fixed, Deborah screamed. You're all in on it. She knocked over a chair on her way out and slammed another door. Friday morning, we took Max for his surgery. I hugged him as tight as I dared with his sore spots. Everyone helped you, I whispered in his ear. You're the most loved dog in the whole world. The waiting was horrible. I couldn't focus at school. But at 1 o'clock, Ava called Mom. The surgery went perfectly. Max needed to stay overnight for observation, but he was going to be completely fine. I ran around the house yelling, Max is okay! Max is okay! Until Mom made me stop because I was making her dizzy. Saturday morning, we went to pick up Max. He was wearing a bigger cone, but his tail was wagging like crazy. When we pulled into our driveway, half the neighborhood was waiting in our yard to welcome him home. Everyone wanted to pet him gently and tell him what a good boy he was. Max tried to lick everyone despite his cone. 2 weeks later, Max was healing great. I still ran my lemonade stand after school just for fun. Cars would stop and everyone would ask how Max was doing. Some people bought lemonade just to check on him. 3 weeks after the surgery, I got home from school to see something new. A for sale sign in Deborah's front yard. Karen Whitmore had already gotten the gossip. She's moving because she says the neighborhood is full of criminals and lawbreakers, Karen told Mom. Good riddance. A month later, Deborah had a garage sale. She was trying to sell all her skincare products for cheap. Mom and I walked by with Max on his leash. Nobody was buying anything. Deborah saw me and yelled, "This is all your fault! You ruined everything!" Max barked at her, which made me smile. Moving day finally came. The moving truck arrived at 8 a.m. on a Saturday. Deborah yelled at the movers like a drill sergeant, telling them they were doing everything wrong. When they accidentally dropped a box, she screamed so loud that Max barked from inside our house. By 11 o'clock, the whole neighborhood had found reasons to be outside. People were washing cars, gardening, walking dogs, or just standing around talking. Someone started playing celebration music from their garage. Others joined in with their own speakers. At noon, as Deborah drove away following the moving truck, she stopped right in front of our house. She rolled down her window. "I'll report you to the state, the federal government. You haven't seen the last of me." Dad just smiled and waved goodbye like she'd said something nice. As soon as her car turned the corner, the biggest block party I'd ever seen started. Everyone brought food and drinks out to the street. Someone shouted, "To Max," and everyone cheered and clapped. The next Saturday, a young couple moved into Deborah's old house. They came straight to my lemonade stand with huge smiles. "We heard about you helping your dog," the woman said. "That's actually why we wanted this house. We knew this must be a great neighborhood if everyone worked together like that." A month later, my stand had a new sign. Max's Lemonade, helping sick pets. We kept raising money for other animals that needed help. Every weekend, different kids from the neighborhood would help run it. 6 months later, it was summer, and Max was completely healthy. He could run and jump and play like before he got sick. My lemonade stand had become a neighborhood tradition. Different kids took turns running it each weekend, and all the money went to help sick pets. 1 year later, we had our first official lemonade festival. The whole street participated again, but this time it was planned months in advance. We raised $5,000 for the local animal shelter. Max sat next to me at my stand, completely healthy and happy, his golden fur shining in the sun. His tail never stopped wagging as kids petted him, and he gave them his paw to shake. "You started all this, boy," I told him, scratching behind his ears. Somewhere far away, Deborah was probably complaining about something in her new neighborhood, but here on our street with Max healthy and happy, and our neighbors all working together, everything was exactly how it should be. Thanks for letting me wonder and explore right alongside you today. We uncovered some pretty amazing questions together. Until our next curious adventure, like the video. It helps more than you think.